All right, everyone, we're ready to get started. First of all, thank you for everyone that's here in person. Just as a reminder, we are hosting a hybrid session. So there's everyone here from us today physically, and then we have some folks that are here virtually throughout the web. And some of our presenters that are working with us to deliver this presentation for you are also on the web. So you'll see them on this little window right here. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to go ahead and hand it off to one of our partners, Ann Haynes from the Houston Land Bank, to kick it off. Ann?
Thank you. And can you hear me? Good. Okay.
Yeah, you.
Good. And I can't see if there are other attendees, specifically elected representatives from the council or others. So in case I missed someone, I just wanted to really thank everyone for the opportunity to meet with you all this evening and hear feedback from you about housing, new homes for the near North Side. On behalf of Tom McCasland, who's the housing director for the HCDD department, Housing and Community Development Department, and myself, I'm the CEO of the Houston Land Bank. Working together, we have secured land within the near North Side and would like to develop some housing on it. And certainly the most important thing is to get feedback from the community in this process, making sure that values and goals of that development are part of what developers will be responding to when they develop on those properties. So tonight is all about hearing a little bit about the framing of the project from Asakura Robinson, who's here, Alex Miller, who's here to go through a few highlights on the ways that we're trying to get input from the community broadly over the next few weeks throughout this month of June. This is one of many sessions that we've held to try and really meet with a broad variety of folks throughout the neighborhood. And we really, really thank you for your time tonight and your time to participate in this process. And so I'm going to kick it back to you, Jeremiah.
All right, thank you, Ann. So we can go ahead and get started, everyone. These are our key items for today's meeting. First, we'll go over the project background, what we're doing up here in the near North Side. We'll talk about the community engagement piece, which we're all here to hear for, and some key questions. And actually, there's an understated number more. We're going to make sure that we get your feedback here today. So we're not just going to be talking at you. This will be a conversation both in person and virtually. So project background. I'm not going to read this word for word because I just like it when people read PowerPoint slides word for me. But at a high level, when you're going through the slide, we really wanted to make sure we align what we were hearing in our work and with complete. And so all the language is very intentional. We started off in that base of taking what we were hearing from you over the last years to start off this project. So in terms of homeownership programs, meeting near North Side complete community goals, again, that's very intentional. Starting at the top, looking at home ownership, creating those new home ownership opportunities that the community needs. But also making sure that we're hitting the community needs in terms of what that means, how do we match it to what the current residents are looking for. And finally, bringing it all together, having homes that meet that variety of income, not just folks that have a lot of money or resources, but making sure we hit that entire spectrum from low to moderate income and market rates. So here's where we are in the new home development process. Of course, we've developed the sites. That's why we're all here today in the near North Side. We're at step 2, gathering that community. And what we're going to do with the community feedback will be directly to item number 3, issuing the notice of funding of availability to developers. So the goal of getting community feedback is to be able to let our developers know this is what the community developed, and the developers will have to respond to that in terms of this process. Number 3, so your feedback is vitally important in making sure that developers are able to understand what is needed here in the near North Side and the people that live here in the near North Side. So after that process, a developer will be selected and they'll begin building. And the fun part, selling the homes to everyone here in the near North Side. So the community engagement piece, like I mentioned, we're in that middle of, we're in on the last slide, on slide point 2, going to point 3, we started off with a City of Houston internal kickoff focus group last month to make sure we're on. We met with some near Northside community leaders, and right now we're in the middle of point 3 and 4 on this slide. We had a public in-person meeting, a hybrid meeting like we were having days 17. That's all here today. Again for attending, and we are hosting virtual and in-person events. So this is not your only opportunity to get feedback. There'll be opportunities to provide that feedback online, which we'll share in the next couple of slides. And then May tentatively, we will come back together as a community and let all of you know what we heard from you guys in a summary presentation. So let's talk about the actual sites themselves. We're using the terms north and south sites because we want to make sure the community has the feedback on what we actually name these sites. So right now we're using geography to kind of make sure we're not changing the idea of pool. So the north is that site number 1, and we'll show a better view of both sides in a few slides, which is where Yellow Cab Company is. You'll see some of our logos and flyers. And is where the Burnett Transit Center is on the Metro Red Line. So this is just, again, the aerial view. I'm sure everyone here has driven by here at least once or twice. The north side, and then here's the overhead view of that south side. And with that, I'm going to hand it off to Alex to take over the next part of our presentation. Alex, go ahead.
Thanks, Jeremiah. So I want to tell you all, hey there, I'm here on the screen. I'm Alex Miller with Asakura Robinson. So as Ann mentioned, we've been working with the land bank and the housing and community development folks on developing some of these presentations and some of these engagement materials we're going to talk about here. So we have a number of ways that we're looking to inform the community in addition to these meetings that we're having. One way is just working with community partners and residents like yourselves. So we are hoping that one thing that you all can do after today's meeting is to inform and spread the word to your neighbors about the different ways there are to get involved in this process and to give your feedback. The next thing we're doing, as Jeremiah also mentioned, is putting up some signage. So before these meetings, we're putting out yard signs at key intersections in the neighborhood to try and publicize those. We also have some banners and signs up around the north site and the south site to try and make sure that folks who live right there or go by there every day are aware of this process and are able to comment. And we are also having a social media input. And so the Housing and Community Development Department is sharing updates on social media and on their website to make sure that folks are aware that this is going on. If we go to the next slide, and sorry, Jeremiah, these don't change as fast online. So, but I see that you got the next one up. So the Social Pinpoint website, there it is one of the key tools that we have for folks who may not be able to make a meeting in person, who just prefer to give their feedback online, who may be staying COVID safe. It's just a handy, easy way to be able to give your feedback if you can't make one of these meetings. So the great thing about this website is it's bilingual. It has a map tool that allows you to actually comment on the two sites as well as areas around the two sites. So you can actually drag some of these icons that you see on the right to give your feedback on different things you'd like to see. There's a survey about what we should, what types of things we should be including in that notice of funding availability for developers. And there's also an ideas wall that's so you can post a photo or just a general idea about what you'd like to see on that piece of the website as well. It is also mobile friendly. And so that's really important. We know for folks who may not have internet in their homes, most people do have a smartphone and can access it that way. So that's the map and survey and the ideas wall that you can see up there. And so, this is just some screenshots from the website showing you what you can do. And Jeremiah, I'm guessing, do we want to pause here for a demo, or are we going to do that after?
Very briefly, we're going to show you in real time what this website can do. So this is for everyone, in case I just want to very briefly show you, we do have a landing page where we talk about the site in more detail. We have a lot more specific information. We'll have further pop-up meetings. We'll update this live here on this section to the right for upcoming meetings. And we also have maps, a little more information on the sites. If you want to write some social media posts, post things on websites. We have materials for that as well that make it easy to do that. But what we really wanted to show you is a social pinpoint site. So this is what it looks like in real time. You can zoom in on the map. And the way you interact with this tool is you use these icons up here on the top of the page. It's as simple as clicking. Well, I'll use this example. Simple as clicking and then dragging and letting go. And you'll have an opportunity to leave specific feedback about whatever it is you want to mention about the Northside. So these top icons are really suggestions. You don't have to use these exactly word for word. So we have buy, shop, gather, what makes the near north side feel like home, or just your general ideas. So don't feel pressured to have to get it exact. You will put your information here, your comments, your email, which I'm not going to do. And then you hit send, add comment, I mean. And this is what it looks like. This is real-time feedback that we've been getting from folks. So this is an idea someone left. They have their comments. You can like, you can dislike, you can start a discussion. You can also share on Facebook and Twitter. We have a survey. It's a brief survey in English and Spanish. And then we have our ideas wall. This ideas wall, you can take a look and see what people have commented on. You can give a thumbs up, thumbs down. You can also leave your own feedback. So however you want to interact with the tool, whether it's, if you already see someone has submitted all the ideas you have to the north side, you just want to give your thumbs up, you can do that. If you have something else you'd like to say, you can do that as well. We really wanted to make it as intuitive as possible so that folks can provide feedback in whatever way makes sense for them. And with that, I'm going to put the presentation back on. Everyone cross your fingers for me. We'll see how this goes this time. Thank you, Alex. I appreciate that. I think first try. Okay.
Give it a second. There it is.
Okay. Great. Alex, I hand it back to you.
All right. So having demonstrated that social pinpoint website, thanks so much, Jeremiah. I think we can go on to the next slide here. And so our main request, as I said, is for you to share and let us know, and just let folks know that there is a link there to the project website, which will take you to the social pinpoint. If you signed in, you'll get community meeting information shared with you by email. And so please do help us keep spreading the word so we just get as much input as possible from near Northside residents. We are looking to get as much input as we can within this month, within the month of June. And so it really is something where we hope that you can, kind of having been to this meeting tonight, you can go ahead and just let your neighbors know that this is going on. So the next portion of the presentation is about some of the key questions that we want to get feedback on from everyone tonight. And so there's going to be separate discussion groups for folks who are in the room and folks who are here online. And we'll be able to have facilitators in both of those. So if we go to the next slide here, we are going to go through some of the key questions we want to talk with you about tonight, so you just understand kind of where we're coming from with this and what we're hoping you will help us tell the developers during that NOFA process. So the first key question is about designing in context. And this is really about what makes a new development feel like it belongs to the near north side. So you'll see there are a set of different homes here on this slide that are all from the near north side, different parts of the neighborhood, and looking at the ways in which there's different densities, different types of homes. They have some common features. Let's say there's townhomes, there's different detached homes, there's duplexes, fourplexes, there's color, there's greenery, right? So what are some of those types of characteristics that give that near north side home the look and feel that make it feel like it belongs to the neighborhood? So if we go to the next one, this one is about density and good design. So how do we think about opportunities to understand what's really possible on these sites? One of the issues that, the city faces, and that basically everyone faces, these days, is that when you're looking at a central good location in a city that is close to jobs like the near north side, it's typically getting more and more expensive to buy a site there, buy a piece of land, and then to build on that site as well. Right now we're seeing construction costs are very high. And so it can be hard to develop affordable homes, or at least homes with a good mix of options, right? As we've said that we want to do on these sites to make sure that we have opportunities that are not just market rate, but that are for a whole array and spectrum of different homeowners. And so one of the things that we are interested in doing with these sites is figuring out how we can have a mix of housing types like townhomes, duplexes, fourplexes, that really bring in a mix of types and mean that we can help more people become homeowners with the investment that the city is putting in, because it costs less money to develop each unit in each home in and of itself, right? So this is something where we know that a lot of near Northside homes tend to be these kind of detached single family homes on larger lots. We're interested in creating a look and feel that feels like it belongs there, but thinking about how we can do that in a way that brings in different housing types that will help us bring more homeowners to the neighborhood. So the next slide here, this is thinking about designing for connection. So one of the things we want to understand from you is what residents need access to and how we can really build connectivity into these developments. Is that about types of sidewalks? Is it about bike lanes and bike access? Is it about opportunities to get to transit? One of these sites is right next to the Burnett Transit Center. So what do we want that to look like? How do we really design for those kinds of connections that bring people to the other assets that are in the neighborhood and beyond? And then finally, our last question is about designing, sorry, the slide isn't changing online yet, and I've forgotten this is the green space design. Sorry about that. So designing communal spaces that are that may be part of these developments. So one thing that we know is, if you create a green space, but you really don't put anything in it, if it's just a bare piece of grass, right, it's not necessarily going to attract people to it. It's not going to necessarily be used as a gathering space. And one of the things we really want these developments to do is help create community. So we want to know how green and common spaces that are part of these developments can really add value to the developments themselves and to the neighborhood as a whole, right? Are there ways in which other neighbors could also benefit from some of the green spaces we could create as part of these developments? So that is it for the key questions. And so that is just one more example here of the green and public spaces. This is, Sunnyside Gardens in Queens is just one example of kind of a denser, slightly denser, but still, very nice looking community with some really good communal green spaces. Maybe we can even do more than this, right? Maybe we could have benches or other types of programming. So what is it that these spaces need to be really useful? So the last question we have for you that we want to talk through tonight is just who else needs to know about this? Who else do we need to talk with? Who don't you see here tonight that needs to be involved? And are there any events that you can invite us to in June as we're going, throughout the rest of the month to make sure that we're able to get the word out more broadly? The housing community development folks, including Jeremiah, have been going out, across the neighborhood so far, and we want to make sure that we're able to cover any of those other events that are coming up, or just places where people gather to make sure more people know about this and are able to give their input.